Hello. In today's case, I will introduce you to a conflict, a situation, a development that has relevance to today's developments and events. It's a historic case that took place more than 300 years ago, but its relevance, its modern meaning are quite interesting and quite useful for today's journalism, politics, and our life in general. I will use PowerPoint slides to introduce this case, and we'll talk over these slides to explain how things were unfolding. The title of this case is A Fake News for the American Revolution, an attempt at character assassination of George Washington. Before I begin, I also want to share my word of appreciation for my colleagues and friends from the CARP research team, Jennifer, Serge, and Martin, without whom this paper would not be possible. In fact, I described this case briefly in my several publications in a couple of books, but today it's an opportunity for me to explain it in some detail. Of course, most important details and facts are in paper itself, which is available online. Well, George Washington, as far as many know, was the first American president, and he was attacked physically numerous times. He was a target of real assassination attempts, but this one case is about fake news that we believe were deliberately created and deliberately disseminated to attack his reputation and somehow diminish his political power. These character attacks then, 300 years ago, and earlier as well as today, such character attacks have several goals. The attackers who generate them have several goals in their mind. They want to hurt their targets emotionally. They want to hurt their confidence. And also the goal of those attacks is to generate public scandal, even advance certain political goals. I should say in the big footnote that not every character attack is a smear campaign. Some individuals deserve to be criticized, deserve to be exposed what they have done. No way we defeat those individuals. We explain how those attacks works. In case of George Washington, those attacks were really based on truth. They were fake news, and this is what I want to emphasize in this short presentation. I will present briefly this case, major elements. We'll tell you how it started, the actors and the context and the public and what was done, and also talk about consequences. Also, at the end, I will talk about the case historical significance and certainly contemporary application. To the right of the screen, you see our most recent publications. It's a handbook on character assassination, reputation management, and of course, our book on character assassination, the first one ever on this subject, and with the details, with cases, with the exercises, with lots of interesting materials. I highly recommend for those who study reputation, study politics, study campaigning, study media, to check out and see what's inside of either of those books. For the sake of my discussion, very briefly, character is something that we have, our social qualities. So it's a willpower, resistance to bad news, and so forth, the ability to achieve goals, well, it's an inner quality. Reputation is how people see us. I may see myself as A, B, C, D, E. Other people may see me differently, and that's the difference between basic difference between character and reputation. In other words, reputation is how people see us, and character attacks. We consider them in our lab and through our research as any negative critical information about individual's character. A character assassination refers to deliberate destruction of a person credibility through character attacks, reputation credibility, and usually character assassination also has sort of a concluding ending that's results in something. Usually it's a damaged reputation. We consider every case. In the case of George Washington, and you'll see this in 30 seconds. We write in our publications about the 5 pillars of character assassination involved: the attacker or attackers, if they're known; the target, definitely he or she is a person who is attacked; the medium through which attacks are conveyed, public forums, books, letters, contemporary social networks, and so forth. The audience must be perceiving audience. A character attacks against a person which nobody notices is essentially useless. And also the context in which those attacks take place: political, socioeconomic, cultural, and historical, and others. Of course, these 5 pillars are interconnected, so definitely they affect one another. Well, the case itself of 1777, a pamphlet was published in London, allegedly containing damaging information about the first president of the United States. The colonies declared independence from British rule, and so apparently those letters were found on George Washington's servant, and the private letters, 7 of them, 1 written to his wife, 1 to his close confidants, and 5 to his stepson. Very private, very personal letters. So what? We'd say, well, so what? But apparently those letters, according to the publisher of the pamphlet, revealed George Washington many qualities about his hesitation, wavering, about his emotional instability, depression, anxiety issues. So he appeared a weak, indecisive, double-faced individual, and that was the point. There we go. See, this is your commander-in-chief. This is what happened then. Letters didn't appear as important. Published pamphlet with the letters did not stir British public opinion. We have no data, no evidence that the British were impressed with that. But these letters were published again in New York, in colonies, and apparently they became very, very well read. Those days, newspapers were well read in the United States, papers. The evidence is that a single paper in small towns usually read by a number of people. People do read and then read and then read to others. Pamphlets, single page letters, poetry and fiction and stories were well read, and this is something which we must understand. It was something that many people will be interested to read in those days. So the second second wave of publications about George Washington were released years later. When Washington was president already, 1795, and this is a time when Washington was trying to create this agreements, or actually ratify the agreements, the so-called Jay Treaty between the United States and Great Britain, facing numerous opponents in the United States, and that was second wave of publications. Same publication were reprinted. So we did the content analysis of these letters and simply counted using the letters, counted words which refer to George Washington, and we identified 3 distinct categories referring to Washington political will, moral stamina. I provide several examples, direct quotes from his fake letters. And again, in paper, I write about why there were numerous opinions and a consensus eventually among scholars, fake letters, forgeries. These are quotes from direct quotes from those forged letters. Second category of text refers to Washington views of Great Britain, especially the king. And you see the apologetic and very much sincere and sad confession in George Washington's sins and his missteps. He was apologetic for things they've done to Britain. In third category, Washington's emotional stability and his depression, his anxiety. So many interesting words right there. It's just self-depreciative words. Three categories of those words. Again, we categorize this into three groups, and they are displayed in the paper. Washington dismissed those papers of those letters, at the beginning for the United States. Early his career, he was really dismissed. They told his confidants he didn't care much about the publications, which were numerous, people asking questions. This case is important because it shows that transparency is relevant in contemporary politics. Through letters, people saw the quote-unquote real George Washington. It was fake, but many people believed it was real Washington in those papers. And certainly in the eyes of some, 10, 5, 25%, the good image of presidents was somehow shattered, probably. Authenticity of character matters. If you are president, if you're commander-in-chief, if you're a political leader, you're supposed to be authentic. You're supposed to be who you are, supposed to appear and do whatever you said you would do. And if you appear double-faced, two-faced, definitely your reputation could be damaged. We call zombies attacks from the past. So 20 years later, first fake printed in the United States, they did it again. And like zombies coming out of graves and haunt us in sci-fi movies, those letters haunted Washington again 20 years later when he was president. Like today, we know that's a tweet years ago, a letter, an email, numerous cases today that discovered, and careers are ruined of individuals. Rightly so, maybe, who knows what is reality behind those suddenly uncovered emails from year 1999. Character attacks can backfire. This case, in fact, shows that George Washington was able to survive those attacks and come stronger because his alleged attackers were discredited in many ways. Character attacks still can create a scandal. They can create or generate heightened public awareness, hesitation. And when we face elections very close, recent couple of decades, in particular in the United States, 1-2% could matter. And that's why character attacks become more and more politically relevant in recent times. Posting, reposting may work. So once again, 20 years ago, fake letters were published. Speaking of George Washington case, now they're in 1790s they appeared again. So like in today's world, something was forgotten 5 years ago, you repost it again. That's the hope of character attackers, that their fake news and or the information they uncover will be posted and reposted by other people. But please don't forget that some character attacks are legitimate, and they target individuals who sometimes hide their real reputation. Right? And also personal attacks, confusion, drain resources of targets of those attacks. George Washington himself in 1790s was upset about the revival of those attacks. and he would talk to numerous associates. He would write letters to government officials, asking them somehow to make it clear or more clear for the public that the letters were fakes. So, and there are several accounts suggesting that George Washington was visibly emotionally shaking about the unfairness of this ordeal. How come 20 years ago it was forgotten, and now it is again just to hurt me politically? And this is what many character attackers do. So, well, they try to create this confusion in their targets, and they commit their targets commit extra resources, extra time to defend against character attacks, or at least scramble the resources to do something about character attacks. The case is relevant, and here is my brief conclusion. I talk about general findings of our work, which we always maintain in our publications, that so many acts of character attacks have universal cross cultural meaning, and they are pretty standard. Ancient Rome, medieval Europe, or China, or modern Europe, North America, core elements of character attacks remain stable, but they're also history-specific, culture-specific, gender-specific attacks, and we write them also. I suggest right there that the case of George Washington is interesting. Not only it is interesting, it's relevant to today's life. There was no social networks in 70s and 70s, but the methods, the ideas, and the motivation behind those postings and pamphlets, postings on the walls, postings on doors, postings on newsstands, the motivation and the psychological mechanisms, political mechanisms were essentially identical to today's motivation, political interests of individuals. The means have changed, but the main principles remain the same. And I always maintain this idea that many forms, methods, and responses to character attacks remain consistent throughout the ages. And even if it were only for today's sake, history is worth studying. Thank you so much for listening, for watching, for viewing this. As always, send us our comments to our CARP. We have emails on our website, and we'll be very much appreciative to continue our discussion as we always do. Thank you so much.